Now engaged, what vision did Matthew and Johanna have for their wedding?
We just wanted the day to really bless others, for it to be a blessing to ourselves, and just to have a fun-filled day, you know, just filled with joy, laughter, just a relaxed vibe.
The couple share how they went about planning a charming Victorian-style wedding.
Well, we had a theme, Old English Victorian, and we wanted the day to be one that really would honor God and honor persons, in that we really wanted people to look on and just be blessed by our wedding day. The chapel, the UA chapel, what we had was actually, what do you call it, an aisle runner that was painted by our decor lady in the form of like a brick, a pebble, so that stone brick road that you usually see in England or London, or you know, through those old English places. That's what we had for our aisle runner going down the chapel. And then we had lanterns at each bench going down.
The menu option at the hotel, we selected the high noon / English tea offering, which was not your traditional rice and peas and sirloin steak and stuff like that. No, it was not that. So stuff like that we tried to use to capture the theme, but mostly it was found in the decor. And I believe our decorator did a fabulous job where that was concerned.
I wasn't too sure. I'm not the type of person to really plan or have it set that I want this, so I channeled my ideas through Matt, and he kind of shaped it in a way that I was like, yeah, that's actually what I want.
You can say I executed all that she had in her mind. So let's say, for instance, the invitations, she had a vision of something elegant. For me, elegant is always depicted with a scroll. And then I just thought to myself, why not just create some scrolls for the invitation?
My lovely husband chose the colors for the wedding. He's like, Joe, you know, I think burnt orange and yellow, pastel yellow, not even just normal yellow, you know, pastel yellow would look good. So I said, you know, that's true. And then we can, yes, I know. and then, oh, to top it off, it's like, and a hint of ruby red, not normal red, ruby red. And I was like, you know, those colors are nice, you know. But you know, any other brides that I've spoken to before, just like, your husband chose the colors. I was like, yeah, and I had no problem. Hush. I had no problem with it at all.
I'm always at weddings and I'm very hot. Very, very hot. So I said to her, oh, look out. Instead of just doing traditional programs, let's make fans. That's how we did the fans. So she's always complaining about the heat as well. And I know we couldn't have built-in ACs at every single bench. So I just said, let's make fans and let me just throw it out to her. So that's what it really looked like, just executing it based on what she would like and just thinking about it and just running wholeheartedly with what I have and then communicating with her.
In all the fun of wedding planning, the couple experienced one major difficulty along the way.
For the invitation, we had to take a stance whereby we catered to, for the reception, catered to really just family and very close friends. But for the ceremony, we opened it to everyone. So the ceremony had we invited about 250 persons. But to the reception, we only invited 100, which comprised of family. Her family alone was, when the list was finished, was 65. And after my family was added, it was 70 something. And then close family friends brought it to about 105, but we had to chop to bring it down to exactly 100. So it was very hard because there are many persons. I mean, being the young adult leader at my local fellowship, it proved very hard to cut some persons from the reception. However, the fact of the matter is we live in a time where we really have to be smart about the amount of money you spend on a wedding, and as a result of that, we really took the decision that, look, Just stick to close family and friends and just explain to persons that we can't really afford it, but we'd love for you to take part in the sermon. And everybody was like, that's fine, Matthew, that's not a problem. We'd love to be there nonetheless. So many persons understand, and I mean, it proved to be rewarding in the end, but the process wasn't that easy. I mean, it sounds easy now because we're long past it, but it was very hard. Like, the list wasn't finally sorted out until like 5 days before the wedding. So it was very tricky.
The list is something you will revisit 10, 50, 100 times before it is finalized. Like, you go through fine tooth, you go through again, and you go through again, and you go through again. Right? So trust me, that was the hardest point. I think we had a couple disagreements over the list, and we just had to, all right, put it aside and then talk it out and stuff. So yeah, that list was the hardest for me.
It was hard for the Samuels, but is this a trend? Let's find out from our pro.
Hi, I'm Sarah Campbell, your in-house events planner for I Thee Wed. Today, we're going to be talking about managing your guest list. Now, first of all, what is the guest list? This is your total compilation of all the persons attending your wedding. Now, one thing that you need to know about the guest list, it can be very confusing, it can be very stressful trying to decide who to invite, but between you and your fiancé, you can do it, just take your time. Now, first advice I'm going to give you, don't write it down on paper. Forget the paper and pen, just throw it out the window. I would say that you use online, use some kind of soft copy, use Excel, use some kind of website that can help you to manage it. One of the websites you can use is knot.com. Now, it's important for you to have your guest list and have it all together and manage it well. Why? Because the numbers of persons that's coming to your wedding determines a lot about the wedding. It will tell you how many people you need to cater for, how many people you need to buy food for, to tell the caterer so that he can plan ahead. Also, your venue, which is one of the first things that you need to confirm, is determined by the amount of guests you want to have. Now, if you want to get married at a chapel that can only hold 50 people, there's no way you can invite 100 persons to a small chapel. So you need to know how many people you want at the wedding so that you can confirm all of the other areas. Each person that you invite increases the cost of the wedding, and so your budget will be affected. When somebody comes, you have to provide for them chairs, so that's rentals, food, so that's the caterer, you have to pay more money. For managing your guest list, especially online or on the Excel system, it will be very helpful for you to have various categories or sections of the guest list. You have your family, your fiance's family, friends from high school, church friends. You have different subtitles that you can put and put the various persons under each. Also, when you're sending out the invitations and you're actually doing the labels, it will be best that you can have the family groups together. So you send out one invitation to one family or one household. And so if you're already putting on a guest list in that order, it'll be a lot easier just to print the labels when that time comes. One of the big questions for managing your guest list is, can I allow my parents to invite persons? Suppose they want to invite all of their friends. How is it that you're going to manage this? Now, I would tell you, first of all, you have to know your parents, what type of persons they are. If they're very formal and rigid persons, then you're going to have to sit down and really have a talk with them on how many persons they're allowed to carry. If it is that they're really relaxed parents, that, it doesn't matter to them, it's your choice. If you feel like you want your wedding to be very personal and only persons that you know directly, then you can say that to your parents. But with tradition, if your parents are the ones that are paying for the bill for the entire wedding, I would say let them invite their friends.
Don't switch that dial. After the break, the Samuels discuss wedding fashion, and Matthew shares his experience of being kidnapped right before the wedding.